We throw the word narcissist around a lot these days. If an ex hurts us or a boss takes credit for our work, someone posts too many selfies, and suddenly they're a narcissist. But not everyone with narcissistic traits has narcissistic personality disorder. And understanding that difference matters for empathy, for accuracy, and for healing. Let's start here. Every single one of us has narcissistic traits. We all want to feel special, seen, valued. That's not pathology. That's human. Healthy narcissism is what lets us pursue goals, protect our boundaries, and believe we deserve love. But when those traits become the core of someone's identity, when the need for admiration replaces genuine self-worth, that's when we start to cross into disorder territory. A personality disorder isn't about a few bad behaviors or a few bad traits. It's about deeply ingrained patterns of thinking, feeling, and relating to the world that cause chronic dysfunction in your life, in work, in relationships, and your self-image. That's what makes it a personality disorder. It's not something they turn on and off. It's woven into how they see the world. Some people don't know this, but the word narcissism comes from Greek mythology. The story of Narcissus, who was a beautiful young man who caught his own reflection in a pool of water and became entranced with his own reflection. He fell so deeply in love with his own image that he couldn't look away. Eventually, he wasted away beside the water, completely consumed by a love that could never love him back. That's the tragedy of narcissism. It's not about vanity. It's about obsession with an image, an idealized version of oneself that replaces real connection. People with narcissistic patterns aren't truly in love with themselves. They're in love with the reflection they wish they could be. Clinically, Narcissistic Personality Disorder, or NPD, falls under Cluster B, which is the dramatic and emotional group. It's defined by a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, either in fantasy or behavior. Also, a constant need for admiration and a lack of genuine empathy. But the presentation isn't always loud. Some narcissists are overt. The classic "I'm the best" archetype. Others are covert, fragile, self-pitying, hypersensitive to criticism, and constantly comparing themselves to others. Different faces, same core wound, a fragile self-esteem that depends on external validation. Narcissistic personality often develops as a response to early emotional injury. Many people with NPD were either excessively praised without emotional grounding, or harshly criticized and made to feel defective or less than. In both cases, they never developed a stable sense of worth or sense of self, so they built one. They constructed a false, self-impressive, untouchable, admired. But underneath that armor is shame, a deep fear of being ordinary, rejected, or unworthy. That's why narcissistic injury, being criticized, embarrassed, or ignored, feels catastrophic. It's not just rejection, it's ego death. Here's the thing. Our culture rewards narcissistic behavior, self-promotion, image control, constant comparison. Those aren't just normalized, they're encouraged. So when people act self-centered, we call it narcissism. But clinical NPD goes so much deeper than that. It's not just confidence, it's compulsion. It's not self-love, it's self-protection through illusion. And it's not just arrogance, it's emptiness dressed as superiority. So yes, someone can have narcissistic traits without having narcissistic personality disorder. And I just wanted to maybe share that in case somebody didn't know. Traits are flexible. Disorders are rigid. Traits might annoy you. A disorder will distort every relationship in that person's life. When people say narcissist, they usually mean someone who's self-centered or manipulative. But in clinical terms, NPD is a diagnosable mental health condition. Not everyone with narcissistic behaviors qualifies for that diagnosis. So, a narcissist, colloquial, is a person showing strong narcissistic behaviors, often situational or learned. Narcissistic personality disorder is clinical, and it is a pervasive pattern that shapes identity, damages relationships, and resists change without therapy. Meaning if they don't do therapy, that can be bad. Accountability is important. One is a personality style. The other is a disorder of self-concept. NPD is tough to treat. Not because people with it are hopeless, but because their defenses protect them from shame. Therapy often threatens the very armor they depend upon. Progress usually begins with crisis, a relationship loss, career collapse, or a moment when the facade breaks. When they do engage in therapy, the work is about helping them build self-esteem instead of fragile grandiosity. Learning that worth doesn't have to be earned through admiration. It's slow and humbling work. But it's possible, especially when the clinician stays steady, neither flattering nor condemning. Not everyone who loves themselves is a narcissist. And not everyone with narcissistic traits is broken. But for those with the full disorder, it's not about ego. It's about fear. Fear that without control, validation, or perfection, there's nothing left. So the next time we call someone a narcissist, maybe we pause, because not every mirror is built for vanity. Some are built for survival. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye.